I have literally tried to record this like 7 times. So you get what you get and you don't throw a fit at this point. Okay? Okay. We're talking Sister Wives, episode 10. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. And this episode was kind of. That's the best way I can describe it. It's just. Nothing really super crazy happened. Nothing really super exciting. After coming off the drama of last week, this week is really kind of we get a little clarification on things we've already known for years, but nothing super major. So we're going to take this one really casual because, like I said, I've tried to record this 7 times and it's just not working. So I do want to thank all of my new and returning subscribers. It is so fantastic. I set a goal of 200 by Christmas time, and we're at like 314 last I checked. So, frankly, you guys are awesome, and I couldn't do this without y'all. So, I'm going to set a goal of 500 by Christmas time. We'll see how close we get. I mean, we'll see. Anyway, so let's uh let's talk about Sister Wives, and at the end I have a little bit of a life update to let you guys know about. It's nothing super exciting, but if you want to stick around for it, it'll be there at the end. So, we're going to zero in on Easter Sunday, and Cody's going to explain to us that he doesn't do Easter. Okay. Okay. And he's like, "Well, we're going to do Resurrection Sunday." I don't know what the difference is. Like, Easter for us was, oh, rabbits are cute, and here's some candy, and then let's go talk about Jesus, and then we're gonna go to grandma's house and we'll say some prayers and we'll read the story again. And then, I mean, that was kind of it. I like to try and take a little bit of time on Good Friday to reflect about the sacrifice that Jesus made for us all. But, like, I don't honestly know. Is it just you don't get baskets? Like, I don't get it. And then it's like, I don't know. He's like, we're gonna do it on Easter Sunday. When else do you do Resurrection Sunday? Is like, am I missing something? Is this like a whole different holiday and I just don't know about it? If somebody in chat, oh my gosh, if somebody knows about it, can you please leave it in the comments because I don't know anything about it. Um, so Christine's like, I loved Easter, but we didn't get to do Easter. And she is sitting there and she has got these colorful eggs and she's got some candy and she's got money. And it is dawning on me that the candy and the money are going to go in the eggs together. And I don't know if you just saw that little twitch. I have OCD and a little bit of a germ phobia. And the thought of that money and all the places it could have been going in with anything that needs to be put into anyone's mouth makes my skin crawl. Like, I cannot wash my hands enough to make this okay. I am ready to move on for Christine and her money and her eggs. Janelle is going to tell us that there's a little bit of nuance to Easter being pagan, and sure, I guess that, sure, I guess. Um, so Cody's like, I prefer to do Passover. I don't believe that that is a mainstream LDS or a fundamentalist Mormon thing normally. Am I wrong? I've never been Mormon. Maybe I'm confused. Um, but biblically, that doesn't make sense to me. Like, it doesn't jive. I'm sorry. So we hear about how Robin, uh, her kids do Easter, and it's like, oh, okay. And so she's like, listen, I'll just take my kids on over to Alice's house. Y'all do your Passover. We're going to go do Easter over here. And it'll be a great time. And it's like, no. Cody was like, we cannot have that. You will stay here and we will do a Passover Easter hybrid, which frankly feels like it's offensive in multiple religions. And so we're going to cut it off there. Um, and then Robin's like, well, when a wife comes into a family, they bring new traditions. And husband's like, wrong. And I was like, woohoo, nope. Robin gets to be right one time in her life, and this is the one time. And the only reason I say that is that my husband's family doesn't really have any like traditions that aren't what you would expect from a typical Midwest American family. Let's get together, let's eat some food. Maybe we'll have some hot chocolate. If somebody gets rowdy, we'll throw some snowballs at each other, kind of thing. Um, Actually, it's kind of the same thing at Easter because sometimes it still snows here till May. Um, so when I married my husband and he brought a wife into his family, um, I have a lot of specific traditions. My family is very Polish, and I mean very Polish. So my mom always makes glumki, sauerkraut, and pork roast for New Year's, and you have to eat your glumki and sauerkraut at the bare minimum, or you're going to have an awful New Year. For those who are not in the know, glumki, it's a cabbage roll with meat. And if I'm saying that incorrectly, I'm sorry. That's the only name I've ever known it by. Um, Actually, if you really want to know the kinds of things we do, please look up the Eight Polish Foods of Christmas by VeggieTales. We eat almost all of those. I also had a great aunt who her family threw peas at each other. I'm not sure what that one's about. I actually don't know if that's a Polish thing or she was just weird. Um, and then my granddad always would go on and on about dingoose and throwing water on people, and I just knew to hide from him because I don't like to have water thrown on me. God rest his soul. Um, so I do agree with husband though. You cannot make one person's traditions priority. I could not come into this family and be like, "We are only going to do the things that I have done." That's not cool. Yes, granted, his family doesn't have like some sort of really strong tradition that they have to do, but I don't overtake the more traditional things that we do. And you have to kind of invite everyone to be a part of those traditions, which is, sort of what we've done with my husband. You don't have to eat the Polish food. It's just better if you do. And frankly, he really likes Polish food, so we're in pretty good shape. So we see Christine and Janelle together for Easter, and yes, the money went in with the candy. I gotta stop thinking about this. It's really freaking me out. I hate it. And they're talking about setting up new traditions with their kids. And Cody's like, oh, yeah, traditions and identity outside of their dad. And it's like, bro, they're adults. Bye bye. They're adults. They get to have traditions and an identity outside of just being your kid. It bothers me that he doesn't seem to understand that. Anyway, and so we get to see like the Easter egg hunt, and Christine's like they're only doing it because they want the money in the egg, and yeah, probably. I mean, you put some tens in there, and frankly, I'd come Easter egg hunting with you if I could get a little extra grocery money. Just saying. And then Mitch shows off his juggling skills for us, which was pretty fabulous. And then Gwen says something about how he has a unicycle. I need to see it, please. So then we cut to the most Oscar winning performance ever of Miss Robin. And she's just so upset that nobody wants to do holidays with them, that everything is falling apart. And no one wants to be a part of their celebrations anymore. Except that Mary then goes and tells us how that's not really the case because Cody and Robin didn't even invite her over. She just sat at home alone on Easter Sunday. And that says everything. So thank you, Puddle Monkey. And then we take the jump over to Parowan, and Mary and Jen are showing us like all the work they've done in the carriage house, and things are starting to look really nice. And they're talking about getting flooring in and baseboards. And frankly, I think it looks great, but I do think it's possible. The footage feels like it might have been stolen from Instagram because Mary's like, I'm Mary, this is just Jen. And you're like, is this just a Friday with Friends? Did TLC just steal a Friday with Friends to stick in here? I don't know. Did anybody else get the Friday with Friends vibes? Because I totally got that. So she starts explaining once again all of her friendships that she's had with her family over the years and how she and Christine once upon a time had like a really fun friendship, but that she and Robin have always been so serious. And as I'm watching, I'm like, oh my gosh, yes, You have. So every single time that I'm seeing them on screen that I can think of, it's been so serious. Mary, I'm pregnant. Please don't be sad. Mary, I'm pregnant. Please don't be sad. No, you can't go back to school. Um, oh gosh, I had another one. It was great. You can't move. There was another one, but I can't think of what it is. But like everything is always so serious with them. I'll go over more things about their weird relationship when I get to my video about why I don't think they've ever actually been friends. And then Robin gives us this list of like 800 different things that would have to happen for Cody to maybe possibly sort of consider maybe thinking about giving Mary the hope that he might potentially once maybe get back together with her. And this list is like things like get over Christine, fix Janelle, fix with kids, pay off Coyote Pass. I mean, like, there are things on this list that are like things like do the dishes. Like, I swear, it's just this long list of things that are never going to happen. It's just not. And so Mary's like explaining her relationship with Jen and Sean, and she's like, hey, don't go weird. Sean washed my car. It's like, okay. I mean, I don't generally have a friend who just washes my car, but if we really think about it, Jen at the bare minimum is on the payroll, right? Because she runs the inn for Mary. Sean probably is too. He strikes me as maybe the handyman. So if he's on the payroll and he is the handyman, washing your car really wouldn't be that outside of like acceptable behavior, I suppose. But even if it is just a friendly thing, maybe he just cares that she doesn't have a man around to help her out. So we get a rehash of the I still have hope conversation, and Cody's like, I don't think she has a fulfilling life in Flagstaff. And bro, how would you know? You don't talk to her. You don't go to her house. You don't even like look at her. So how would you know? She might have 98 friends hanging out in Flagstaff. And the answer is probably not, considering that she moved to Parowan, Utah. Um, then we get the the Mary sort of quote of the episode, which is he already had one divorce. Is he not worried about another? No. Because the reality is he's already had two, three, really, if you think about it. The legal divorce from you, then Christine left, then Janelle left. So that's three. So no, he doesn't. He does not care. So Cody comes back to tell us how his whole life centers around Robin and the kids in her household. And he's telling us how Robin's constantly telling him to fix his relationships with Mary, with Janelle, with the kids. And there's no flame there. There's no flame of desire to fix your relationship with your children. Okay. Okay. I got nothing for you. Um, so he says, I'm married to the love of my life. And then basically calls the other wives situationships, at which point husband was like, they're side pieces and you just want their money. And I was like, ooh, yeah, kind of. That's how I feel too. And so Cody's like, Janelle doesn't want to reconcile. We're like, duh. And then he's like, and I don't want to reconcile either, not unless she breaks up with Christine. And like, what? It's not happening. He's like, Christine has so much control over her, and it's pathetic. But if I say anything, the kids will find out. So I just don't talk about me. Pathetic is a word you could use, not in this context. Anyway, so then we bounce back to Christine and Janelle, and suddenly we're in July. This timeline is everywhere. We were in March, and then we were in April, and we were in May before we were in April, and now we're in July. And like, I can't keep track, but then later we're going to go back to springtime. I'm lost. Anyway, so they're talking about holidays because Janelle wants to get everything kind of sorted out. She's got kids all over the country. She just wants to figure things out. And I'm with that. So everyone starts talking about, well, maybe we should do holidays in Utah. And Garrison's like, why would we stay in Flagstaff? It's so boring. And I don't I don't think that's what he means. I think he means, why would we stay in Flagstaff? Can we please get away from dad? Um so Cody feels the need to tell us that Janelle became compliant with Gabe and Garrison during COVID. And I get this like vibe off of that. You know that patriarchal hierarchy thing that we see, who's under whose authority. So like it's God, then the husband, then the wife, then the kids, right? We've seen that drawing before. And I feel like somewhere he's like, oh, kids went above wife now. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but it's starting to make sense that that's how the Brown boys became Lost Boys, essentially. And so I I don't like to think about it. It makes my brain hurt. Anyway, so then Garrison's like, well, I offered my house, but Dad said no. And Janelle comes on and she like mocks Cody. She like, does this little mimic thing where she's like, he's gonna say, I have a house, they can come to me. And then we get to Cody and he goes, I have a house, they can come to me. You're like, no, no, no. I don't go to my parents or my in laws all the time. They know they can come here. I no. Um, but I did laugh pretty hard at the little mimicry. I thought that was great. And then they remind us the family is not getting back together anytime soon. So now we bounce back to springtime, like I said before, and we get Robin bringing the kids to Mary. And she's like, this is really important to Mary to have a relationship with my kids. So, Robin, are you saying that it's not important to you and your kids, just Mary, or it's not important to Janelle and Christine, just Mary? Because I hate it both ways. Thanks. So, um, Ari runs up, gives Mary a hug. Saul runs up, gives Mary a hug. And then Ari seems to like spend a lot of time like glancing to check the cameras. And they seem like they're having a lot of fun. Ari at one point asks Mary if she has a dog. And it's like, oh, if she did, it would have to be not there when Robin's there. Because you can take down the footage, TLC. We saw what we saw. Anyway, so ooh, that got dark. Sorry. So then we hear, oh, Ari's just like Cody, Saul's just like me, and it's like, no, Saul's just like Saul. Ari might be like Cody. You know what? They always say, my parents used to tell me all the time, I hope you get one just like you. That's all. Food for thought. Um, So we go back, and Christine and Janelle are talking about how often they would see Cody. And so Janelle says to Christine, well, you've been here for a week. Have you seen him? And she's like, no. What? Why would I see him? It's me. Like, no, he's not going to come here to see Isabel and Truly and Gwen. Like, no, he's not coming. Um, and so then Christine's like, well, when you lived on the property, did you see him very often? She's like, yeah, he'd come by on his regular schedule, but not till like 6:37. That's feeling very familiar. He'd come by at dinner time or after and play with Truly for a little bit and then go to bed and be gone in the morning before everyone got up. And Janelle's like, yeah, he'd be gone in the morning to go get Robin's kids to school. Now, mind you, we have seen the maps. If you haven't, they're available out there that show you in relation Christine's house in Flagstaff, Robin's house in Flagstaff, and Janelle's RV. But let's go even further back because we know what the cul-de-sac looked like. Because we're about to talk about how even as far back as Lehigh, Cody would leave one wife's house and go get Robin's kids ready for school. And we saw that. We saw it. I first or second season, must have been second. Maybe not. I don't know. But we saw him leave, I believe, Christine's house and go over to Robin's to get her kids ready for school. Because if you remember, all the kids are still in their pajamas, and he's like, what are you guys still doing in your pajamas? We saw it. So they're kind of talking about that, and like Christine's like, yeah, that's kind of disgusting. Like, why are you not with the family that you're supposed to be with? Why are you leaving our house to go to another wife's house? I mean, I feel like she'd feel the same way if it was Janelle, if it was Mary, it wouldn't matter. But the point being, you don't leave one to go to the other to get their kids ready. So we get the bickering about bad sister wives. And Christine, of course, is like a bad sister wife is one who monopolizes the husband. Cody's like, a bad sister wife takes her kids away from the husband. So the answer is two sides of the same coin. A bad sister wife either takes the husband away from the kids or takes the kids away from the husband. Once again, two sides, same coin. So um, we have heard we've heard some of the kids talk about, getting ready for school in the morning. But what we hadn't seen before was Cody's face light up like a Christmas tree when he just like, yeah, I love to take Saul and Ari to school. You didn't love to do that for anybody else? Like, Truly's a year older than Solomon. Did you notice when she went to kindergarten? I'm just curious because we never saw it. We never saw it. And so now I just don't know. I don't know what to trust anymore because Gwen has talked about, feeling like her parents, or at least her dad, was never really that worried about, did I eat my lunch? Did I make friends? All that kind of stuff. And I'm not even going to go into the whole thing with McKelty because we all have talked at length about the whole childcare situation. But then it starts to make me think back to like when Logan graduated and Cody almost missed it. Like, did these moments mean something to you? Because the fact that you were willing to miss Logan graduating, I don't think it was real. I don't think that the concern for his kids doing things like that was real. Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm starting to see things from a new lens. Um, so then we go back to Mary's and we get to hear that Aurora is talking to a boy. And the weirdest part of this conversation is that Aurora doesn't seem to be allowed to tell us. Robin comes in and is like, she's visiting with a boy, which, Robin, that sounds less chaste than you'd like it to based off your next sentence, where she's like, she has some traditional ideals, and I'm proud of her for that. And great, great. Aurora can choose to do what she wants. She's an adult. She's an adult. And then Cody's like, well, I had to put on the intimidation factor. And okay. Okay. Sure. Whatever. So, Mary's like, well, by the time I was your age, I'd already been married for a year. And she reflects on how she got married at 19, 6 months, almost 6 months to the day after meeting Cody. And I have nowhere to talk because even though I didn't get married at 19, I did marry my husband 100, no, I'm sorry, a year and 5 days after we met. And we've been together for like 6 years, married for 6 years. So, I mean, I have no room to talk. So Aurora's like, listen, I'm good with flirting because she's getting really red in the face. She doesn't want to talk about this anymore. And it's obvious she doesn't want to talk about this. And Mary's like, oh, I want to talk about it. And Mary's like, no, no, I'm good with flirting. And Mary's like, yeah, flirting's fun and safe. And she's like, Cody always thought I was such a flirt. And if you remember back when they got the Christmas tree, Mary and Christine got called out for being super flirty, even though I really feel like it was Mary more than anybody else. So then she tells Robin that she renewed the lease on her house. And it got weird from there because it got like super awkward because it seemed like Robin was disappointed that she had done it. She's like, I guess if I don't have to worry about you moving further. And like it sounded almost like, I really wish you downsized because I could use some extra money. Like that's the way it felt. I'm not saying that's what she was thinking, but the whole thing was super Eeyore and just super weird. Like super weird. But the entire time she's like digging her thumb into her eyeball, like she's trying to make herself cry over Mary moving, and it's not working. But like I'm watching her and she's I was like, oh my gosh, leave your eye alone. So Cody goes on to tell us that Mary has little involvement with him and Robin and the kids, and Mary needs to move on. And like, bro, she's trying. Robin won't let her. So then Robin's like, so you're almost done with the stable house, carriage house, stable, carriage stable? Mary's like, carriage house. But the whole conversation is really just like stilted and awkward and goes nowhere. Like it is super awkward. I don't know how else to describe it. There is no other word to describe just cringe. Um so then we go back to Janelle and she's telling us how just in the last year things have just gone completely awry with Cody. And she feels like there should be more drama and there isn't. So Christine's like, he just seemed angry when I left, not sad. And Janelle's like, well, we're amiable. You're amicable. Amicable, not amiable. It's fine. Christine's like, I saw the fight. How can they be amicable? Not the word she used, but I'm going to use it because it drives me nuts. And Janelle's like, I just need a companion. I'd do plural marriage again. And Christine's like, you would what? Do you still believe in the faith side? And Janelle's like, yeah. And Christine's like, okay, I've been jealous about way too much. I'm not going to get pre jealous about Janelle's next marriage, which, yeah, don't. So Christine just seemed like utterly shocked that Janelle would pick plural marriage again. And they're talking about how Cody doesn't seem to track that Janelle is just done. And yeah, no, she doesn't care. And then they talk about how Cody's a monogamist, and Janelle's like, yeah, have him. I don't care. And so Janelle's like, if he could fully engage and be a real husband to me, that she'd stay in. And then mentions that they've been friends with benefits for years, which is something that I didn't need to hear about ever. Just saying. And Christine's like, he's not going to stop being Robin's husband to be Janelle's. And no, no, he's not. So Janelle's like, I'm stuck. I need a release, but there's no one to give me a release because I'm not a part of this church community anymore. And so then Christine goes on and she's like, oh, yeah, because you got to do all this paperwork. And you're not really divorced until you're physical with another man. And she starts laughing hysterically. She's like, none of that is true. And granddaughter of the prophet, I think she'd know. At any rate, so the ladies are like, I like this tea. This tea is very good. And I believe I heard them say it was tiger spice tea, and tiger spice tea actually is pretty bomb. I'm about it. So then to close this out, Janelle sort of points out that it feels like Cody's just waiting for everyone to leave. And that he doesn't really care about any of this. His ego is just hurt. And that's that's a little bit of narcissism, I think. So that's really it. And then we get the preview for the next episode, which I'm actually more excited about. I have twins. And so when they're, getting all excited about twins, I'm like, I know sort of what that feels like because I was stressed and overwhelmed, much like Tony. And also terrified. I think my husband was way more excited about twins than I was. They're I don't know, they're nearly 5 now. They're really cute. I don't know. I like them a lot. So I'm really excited to see how that plays out. And to close out, my husband wanted to let you know that he thinks that Cody should just tell everyone he's done and to leave. And then Christine can go find David and Garrison can have a real dad. I cackled. I'm not going to lie, I cackled. So all right, so that's really all I've got for that. So, small life update as promised. I've been getting these videos out just a hair late because I had to go do some medical tests recently. It is nothing super major, but it is something that's been kind of affecting my everyday life a little bit, and I'm not quite done with these tests. So, as I'm having to schedule appointments, some of these videos might get pushed a little later. I do still want to do my Mary and Robin video. I have a couple other ideas that I would like to get out, but they're probably going to be a little bit shorter than my regular recaps, more than likely. So I will be getting things out. If you miss me on a day that you're expecting me, just, shoot me a comment and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as I can. But just know I'm going to be fine. And if in fact we get some more answers, I might be willing to share more details at that time. But until then, I'm going to be sitting around waiting until the next Sister Wife's teaser trailer drops. And you can look for me either on shorts or on a long form video, just depending on what the content needs. So until then, give me all your ideas. And I can't wait to hear from you guys. And I'll see you soon.